Jabroni Steven here, and welcome to my Clash of Champions review where I go through the results and give you guys my reaction of what happened. I've been doing these live normally, but I've decided to change that because I do a live show after Raw and a live show after SmackDown, giving you guys my thoughts, and I didn't want to do it for pay-per-views as well, so instead I'm going to give you guys shorter, condensed versions of my reactions when it comes to the pay-per-views, and if you guys have any questions beyond that, you can come back tomorrow to Raw and watch me and interact with me and talk with me there. But let's find out what happened with Clash of Champions, because there was some good, there was some bad, and I'm not sure yet which one outweighs the other. First, we had Nia Jax defeating Alicia Fox, which is normal, we expected that, but what we didn't expect was Alicia Fox to actually give a hell of a match. She put in the effort, she tried really hard, she had some good hits every once in a while, but ultimately in the end, Nia Jax just destroyed her the way that she should. They are trying to make her this powerhouse, so it makes sense that she destroyed Alicia Fox, but I'm kind of shocked that Alicia Fox put in so much offense. Good for her. The first match on the main card was for the Tag Team Championship, and that was the New Day versus Gallows and Anderson. And what we saw here was a decent match with an ending that I just didn't want to see. I love the New Day, and I get that they are trying to get them to break the record. They're currently at $3.99, I guess, when this thing went on. But Gallows and Anderson needed this. The New Day, to me, are so above the belts. They didn't need this match, and they don't need the belts. Gallows and Anderson right now aren't doing much. They're just there. They needed these belts to feel relevant. What I did notice in this match, which was pretty decent, pretty good, was that the New Day went back to winning heelishly. Like, they won in a heelish way. They, Xavier Woods hit Karl Anderson with Francesca too, and that's how they ended up winning. I found that to be very interesting, and it's just a very heelish thing to do. It's not something that I expected this version of the New Day to do. I know they occasionally do stuff like that, but this one felt very heelish. But in the end, the New Day wins and Gallows and Anderson do not, and therefore this story keeps going, and we're gonna get another feud with these guys, or I don't even know what happens. Gallows and Anderson should have won this match, should have won the belts. I feel it was a mistake. I think the crowd is going to turn on the New Day. And what I mean, like, the smarks are going to turn on the New Day. They're already starting to feel very lukewarm on them, and I think that's what's going to happen, and that kind of sucks. Next, we had the Cruiserweight Championship match between TJ Perkins and Brian Kendrick. Now, this match, I don't know how I feel about it. It had some good moments, but at points it was sloppy. Actually, the ending itself was actually pretty sloppy. The ending itself was botched in a way where Kendrick was supposed to fall, or he didn't. It was just like a brief second of it something happened towards the end that it felt like a really noticeable botch, and a few of them were happening throughout. Like, it was almost like Perkins and Kendrick didn't have the best chemistry together, or their styles didn't mesh. In the end, TJ Perkins gets the win, which is what everybody expected to happen, because of course you can't have Perkins, who won the entire tournament, lose to Kendrick in his first outing. You can't do that. You have to build Perkins as somebody big. So I'm glad that Perkins won, but the match was not as great as I wanted it to be. Next, we had Chris Jericho versus Sami Zayn in one hell of a match, guys. This match was so entertaining. There were some good moments, some good spots. Throughout the entire match, I was not bored. I was thoroughly entertained and engaged by this match. I was into it, and then the ending, which is what I kind of expected to happen, was not what I wanted to happen. Because Sami Zayn ends up losing. He ends up getting the code breaker on him, and he ends up losing clean, or kind of clean, and I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out why Jericho gains, like, what Jericho gains from winning this. Like, Jericho is already a top guy, and Sami Zayn needs to start building momentum, getting a couple of wins in, and to have Chris Jericho win clean and make Sami look a little bit weaker than you normally would want him to look. I don't know. This match was good, and I wish the ending would have been something that I was more enthusiastic about. So Cesaro versus Sheamus, the feud that I was not excited for, but somehow got on board and was all about it, turned into a really good series back and forth the entire way, and I really liked it. Both wrestlers came out looking amazing. My biggest problem was that in the final match, it ended in no contest. Nobody won the series. I get that you would have wanted them both to look strong, but somebody really needed to win this series, and the fact that nobody won, leaves them still floating around, not sure what to do with them. Like, sure, the feud can keep going, and the way that it ended, it was like, I wasn't sure if it was meant to end that way or if somebody legitimately got hurt. At one point, Cesaro clotheslines Sheamus over the banister, and they both fall what it looks like awkwardly, and Cesaro's holding his hand and he's shaking it like if something happened to his arm. Sheamus looks like he hit his head on the metal part of the banister. It ended in a weird way, and I don't know. I was waiting for them to throw up the X. Nobody threw up the X, so I wasn't sure. They were selling it, and if they were selling it and this was meant to be the outcome, I'm hoping that they have something bigger in store for this, because nobody winning and nobody getting a title shot feels weird. Now, if you're gonna throw Sheamus, Cesaro, Rusev into the Roman match later on, maybe a Survivor Series, I can get on board with that. That would be a really good match, and I could get on board with that. But if you're not gonna throw Cesaro and Sheamus into anything and they have to fight again, I don't know how I feel about that. I think the outcome where Cesaro ends up on SmackDown would have been a lot better, but this is what they went with. No contest, nobody wins, but a hell of a match. Probably the best matches of the night, I think, maybe. Like, there were a lot of good matches. This might have been the best one. It's up there. Next, we have the Women's Championship match between Bayley, Charlotte, and Sasha Banks. Now, this match I was pumped about. I was excited about. This was the one that I knew I was going to be all about it. And this match, to me, didn't really disappoint when it came to the entirety of the match. The ending, we'll get to that, but the match as a whole was really good. Some good spots. Sasha's having the back. Neither, like, Bayley looking strong, Charlotte looking good, Dana Brooke staying minimal, like staying on the outside and showing up when she needs to, like interfering when she needs to. Very limited ways that she can fuck up the match, and I actually enjoyed the shit out of this match. I thought it was a lot of fun. Not better than the WrestleMania match that Becky, Sasha, and Charlotte had last year, but a good match nonetheless. In the end, Charlotte gets the victory in the weirdest way. So Sasha Banks is outside. When she's coming in, Bayley tries to throw Charlotte into the ropes. Charlotte reverses. Bayley runs into Sasha, gets kicked, and then gets kicked again, which ends with Bayley losing to not a finisher. Bayley lost to essentially a big boot, which makes Bayley look a little bit weak. She didn't lose to a regular move or a finisher. I mean, she didn't lose to a finisher. She lost to a regular move. And I don't understand what the purpose of that was. Why would Bayley lose to a regular move? I don't get it. Charlotte ends up winning, which is what people expected. I was rooting for Sasha, but it was a weird choice. A very weird choice. Next, we had Rusev versus Roman in another really good match. Like, this match was actually really solid, really good. A lot of offense. Both guys looked really good. Of course, Roman looked superhuman throughout the match, like they're gonna make him look. And I enjoyed this match. Lana got involved when she needed to. I think that they used her poorly at one point. They used her poorly when it came to the initial interference. But she interfered. She helped out Rusev. But in the end, Roman, Superman 2.0, figures out a way to win, and he gets the victory. I don't know how I feel about this, guys. I was rooting for Rusev. I thought Rusev deserved to keep this belt. Him losing doesn't really add anything to the mix. So having Roman with the belt, I don't know. He was giving all like this smile and everything, and I don't know why they wanted to give it to Roman. I don't get it. Rusev was such a good heel champion. What's Roman gonna be, like the goody two shoes? Like, it's just, what's Roman gonna do with it? I don't know. Roman won. Roman won pretty clean. Like, it was Roman won. I don't know. It wasn't what I wanted to see, but he won. We'll see what happens on Raw. And now comes the main event of the evening: Seth Rollins versus Kevin Owens. Did Triple H show up? No, Triple H did not show up. Instead, what we got was a really good match. A really good, I said pretty because I was going to say pretty and really, but it's a really good match. And Kevin Owens, Seth Rollins are putting on a show, both getting great offense in, and out comes Kevin Owens' best friend, Chris Jericho, to help him out. And that is essentially how Kevin Owens wins, is Seth Rollins is getting into, they're going back and forth. At one point, the referee gets hurt. Out comes Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho makes it interfere somehow. Seth Rollins attacks Chris Jericho, gets caught off guard by Kevin Owens after Stephanie brings down a referee. So Kevin Owens wins, of course not clean. In true heel fashion, he wins with some help. So I think that overall, this pay-per-view was solid. Had a lot of really great matches, but some of the choices that were made and the outcomes left me kind of blah. Example, the New Day winning, blah. Charlotte winning, blah. Roman winning, blah. Chris Jericho winning, blah. Like, they're all the kind of matches that you're like, what is the story going forward for all of these guys winning? Because right now, them winning doesn't help anybody. The Cesaro situation with Sheamus, blah. Essentially, the only real one that I was all aboard was the Kendrick one and the Kevin Owens when it came to the finishes. Other than that, every other match was kind of blah. Where you're like, okay, this is the choice you made, but what's the story going forward? You know what I mean? Like, that's how I felt at the end of it. I enjoyed it. I had a ton of fun. I had a blast. But every time something would happen and the outcome would come out, I'd be like, not sure what the point of that was and not sure what creative is doing. So that's how I felt about Night of Champions or Clash of Champions. I enjoyed it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Let me know how you guys thought the matches ended and what you thought should have happened. And be on the lookout because I've put together some top 10s coming up tomorrow and Tuesday revolving around Night of Champions. And we'll be talking about the best and the worst matches in Night of Champions history. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, hit the big like button right here. Hit that subscribe button, comment below, like the video. You guys know all that big deal stuff. Talk to you guys later. Peace. Rollins.